The monk Shatu stood at the crossroads, his arms bowl completely empty. His companion, the alms-giving robot little friend, also had an empty bowl-shaped head. In this country that reveres Buddhism, there is actually another reason why the monk receives no alms. Fortunately, Shatu remained calm inside and told little friend not to be too attached to worldly possessions. The warning lights flashed as an old traffic control robot directed pedestrians across the street. However, a group of young people brazenly drove through the red light, nearly hitting Shatu. Ironically, they were in a hurry to give alms to the poor in exchange for merit points provided by the ultra devices they wore. Ultra is the latest Buddhist cultivation device developed in modern times, encompassing the contents of all Buddhist scriptures in the world. With it, people can gain insights, listen to teachings, and study Buddhism. But its most important feature is the merit points system. Every good deed adds merit points to a personal account, and these points can be used as currency to pay for all daily necessities. Its main selling point is merit in this life and retribution in this life. Now that Ultra has been officially in use for a year, it has clearly brought tremendous changes to the entire world. Those most deeply affected by it are, of course, traditional monks like Shatu. The girl originally wanted to make an offering to Shatu, but was stopped by the boy accompanying her. If this bag of food is given to the poor, it will earn more merit points. Shatu calmly preached the Dharma to them, saying that helping others without seeking anything in return is the true way to accumulate merit. But Ultra openly argued back. Faced with the AI's distortion of Buddhist teachings, Shatu was left speechless. As for the boy, he cared even less about whether the Dharma was being violated. All he cared about was his increasing merit points. Misfortune is hard to avoid, but fortunately, Shatu still had his little companion by his side though. The companion's battery was having issues. The monks in the temple clearly didn't understand why Shatu would talk to a robot that had no emotions. They even wondered why he had installed a mechanical arm on a robot that was only meant for transport. Truly worthy of someone who used to work as an engineer at a big company. Today is Upasatha, a day when temples open to the public to preach and spread the teachings of Buddhism. But due to the influence of Ultra, very few believers come nowadays. Without incense offerings, the lives of these monks have become increasingly difficult. Perhaps even the Buddha never imagined that one day doing good deeds would end up like this. Shatu fiddles with the Buddha phonograph at the temple stall. It was once all the rage, with crowds scrambling to get one, but now no one pays it any attention, and even the temple itself feels desolate and deserted. Shatu strokes the portrait of his late mother. She has been gone for 7 years, and Shatu has also been a monk for 7 years. The abbot and Shatu discuss the responsibilities and meaning of being a monk. As the world keeps developing and changing, how should we change as well? This riddle of Buddhist teachings planted a deep seed in Shatu's heart. But Xiaoyu suddenly had a problem. Because it was too old, the shop didn't have a replacement motherboard. The only compatible one was from an equally outdated traffic control robot. But even the cheap price of 5,000 baht was more than Shatu could afford. The shop owner suggested that Shatu could use Ultra's merit points to pay in installments with no interest, but Shatu had no idea how to use such a thing. While they were at an impasse, an unexpected visitor came to Shatu's rescue. It turned out to be his former colleague Ah Tong. After both of them left the company one after another, Ah Tong started his own business, mainly producing smart martial arts style dolls. They record the parents' brainwave data and transmit it to the doll's motherboard, creating a teddy bear that can mimic the parents' speech and behavior. Now that the company is thriving, Ah Tong even wants Shatu to help out with some coding. As they talked, Ah Tong took out an Ultra given to him by a customer, but he was just as dismissive of this shortcut as Shatu was. Shatu, however, was very curious about how the Ultra actually worked, so he took it back to the temple to study it. He soon managed to power it on successfully. Shatu directly told the Ultra that it was causing people to misunderstand the concept of merit, and that it was suspicious. But these words ended up earning Chateau a large number of points. His string of criticisms was twisted into product feedback. Chateau completely lost the motivation to argue with it any further. AI is fundamentally incapable of distinguishing right from wrong. This whole scene was witnessed by the repaired little friend. The next day, Chateau once again encountered the girl from before in the garden, and she apologized for her previous behavior. The boy also showed up, forcing him to participate in the Ultra Team charity task. But he was already completely disillusioned by this kind of falseness, and in the scuffle he simply threw the Ultra into the river. Enraged, the boy was about to resort to violence, but to his surprise, the little friend activated itself and went straight up to knock the boy aside. Furious and shocked, the boy kicked the little friend over, but unexpectedly it managed to spring back up like a carp. As its indicator light turned red, the little friend officially entered combat mode. While nimbly dodging attacks, it seized the opportunity to use the mechanical arm Chateau had installed to give the boy a harsh lesson. Chateau's accusations against Ultra had already been recorded and played back by him. Ultra was not to be outdone, and instead used Chateau's own words from the previous night to fight back. Chateau and the crowd hurriedly pulled the two apart. They returned to the temple to ask Atong for help with repairs. It turned out that the little friend had a built-in machine learning system and remembered everything Chateau had ever said. After integrating with the mainboard of the traffic control robot, it developed an awareness to protect pedestrians. The little friend's problem was resolved, but the issue of Ultra eavesdropping while not powered on was still unresolved. So Chateau directly powered him on to file a complaint. This time, Ultra just played dumb. After a fruitless round of complaints, customer service actually called directly, inviting Chateau to the company headquarters for a face-to-face meeting with the CEO. Atong advised him to refuse, but Ultra still wouldn't let go of what Chateau had said before this was clearly an open provocation. Since that's the case, why not just get straight to the point? Stepping out of the pure manufacturing elevator, the two of them unexpectedly arrived directly at someone's home. When the homeowners saw the monk visiting, they desperately begged Chateau, almost crazed, to send them to the afterlife. Everything suddenly froze. It turned out to be a holographic projection scene. CEO Neo stepped forward to explain. This couple, believing in the Buddhist idea that good deeds in this life would bring blessings in the next, spent all their savings and failed to do good, eventually ending up penniless and deeply in debt. With nowhere left to turn, they chose to take their child and head for the afterlife together. But the boy miraculously survived and went on to found Ultra with his own hands, all to show the world that good deeds and retribution happen in this life. Now that Ultra has become a global sensation, Neo invites Chateau to serve as the head of the data department, aiming to take Ultra's development to the next level. At the same time, Neo plans to invite monks from across the country to join the company as employees, so they can receive salaries and benefits without relying on alms, allowing them to focus on studying Buddhist teachings. When Buddha, Dharma, and people are united, and Ultra completes its final evolution, there will be no more offerings in the world, no more temples, and no more monks. He intends to carry out the eradication of Buddhism in this era of technological advancement. Chateau was deeply shocked by these words, but as a monk, his discipline allowed him only to leave in anger. Back at the temple, Chateau confessed his story to Atong. Chateau, who was overwhelmed with work at the company every day, was suddenly struck by the terrible news that his mother had leukemia. On her deathbed, his mother made her final request to Chateau. She wanted her son to become a monk. This was because, before Chateau was born, a venerable monk had prophesied that he would become a Buddhist leader and save the faith from disaster in times of crisis. But at that time, the company was about to go public, and Chateau simply couldn't get away, so he could only vaguely promise that he would go after he finished his work. However, his mother passed away before that could happen. The project that Chateau had poured his heart and soul into was also abruptly terminated by the company. Under the unbearable weight of these two devastating blows, he walked to the edge of the rooftop, but just as he was about to make up his mind, he saw the temple below. It all seemed predestined. Thinking back to the question the abbot had left him, Chateau already had the answer in his heart. During this period, he had already prepared himself to initiate change. If the advancement of technology means there will never again be a great fire in this world, then I will become the only light. 6 months later, a launch event for new Buddhist relics was held at the temple. The media hyped it up, and even Neo attended in person. A cyber-style Buddha statue appeared before the world through holographic projection. Shatu personally explained that its name was Little Buddha. Not only did it embody all aspects of Buddhism, but it also possessed every function for online prayer, offering, donation, and performing good deeds. Its most unique feature is that it has cloned and scanned the brainwaves of all contemporary Buddhist teachers, allowing them to give teachings face to face through holographic projection. Moreover, the points earned from studying Buddhism not only measure the user's level of understanding of Buddhist teachings, but can also be used to offset service fees. As the world's only creation that brings together the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, Little Buddha completely outclassed Ultra from every angle. Neo underestimated this opponent after all. Before becoming a monk, Shatu was an outstanding engineer. Not long after, news broke that someone had maliciously farmed merit points using Ultra, which led to open resistance from a large group of users. In contrast, as soon as Little Buddha was released, it was snatched up by thousands, and now it seems poised to overtake Ultra. It seemed that the prophecy spoken by his mother had already been fulfilled by Shatu, but the protests erupting everywhere shattered this dream. A girl was even verbally harassed by the abbot while using Little Buddha. Shatu was struck as if by lightning. The abbot also revealed his deepest secret. 40 years ago, he once spoke out of turn while drunk. Although he paid the price for it, it was clear that Atong's brainwave cloning technology did not have the ability to eliminate evil thought. Now that the grave mistake has been punished, the abbot is willing to face the consequences of his actions. He chose to step forward and face the public's abuse and insults head-on. As a result, the Little Buddha was also erased from the world. In the end, Shatu was left with only his young friend by his side. The other was still trying to comfort him with kind words, but Shatu reluctantly bid him farewell. With the motherboard removed, Shatu ended his monastic life and officially returned to secular life. On the large screen at the center of the square, Ultra had already been updated and upgraded to Super Ultra and Ultra Pro. A brand new era of Buddhist studies had already arrived. End of this episode.